Less than 100 paces from where they crouched, a huge old hemlock lay tipped downward, its bottom end balanced on the near lip, the tip lodged halfway down the far canyon wall, caught on a jutting ledge.
We can climb across to the far side!
But the troll shook his head.
If we can climb down it with Kantaka, then they can be doing it as well. And it goes to nowhere.
He gestured. The ledge where the tree had caught was no more than a wide shelf in the rock face.
But it will be some help.
He stood up and tugged at the rope, testing the knot around the stump.
Take Kantaka down onto it, if you can. Not far, perhaps 10 cubits only. Hold her until I am calling. Understood?
But...
Simon looked back down the slope. The white shapes, perhaps a dozen in all, were almost upon them. He grabbed the balking Kantaka by the scruff of the neck and urged her toward the fallen hemlock. Enough of the tree had remained on the canyon's edge that there was space between the twisting roots and the rock rim. It was not easy to keep balance while clinging to the wolf. She shivered and pulled back. He could not coax her up onto the broad trunk and turned to Binabik in despair.
Umu!
A moment later, she jumped up onto the hemlock, still growling. Simon straddled the trunk as best he could, his club a hindrance in his belt. He slid backward on his rump, keeping a grip on Kantaka until he was well out from the canyon's rim.
Hinik!
Kantaka whirled toward the sound of the troll's voice. Simon hung onto her neck with both arms as his knees gripped the rough bark. He was suddenly cold, so cold. He lowered his face into her fur, smelled her thick, wild smell, and whispered a prayer.
Alicia, mother of our ransomer, give mercy, protect us.
Binabik was standing with a coil of rope in his hand, just a step before the rim.
Hinik, Kantaka!
Then the hounds were out of the trees and up the final slope. Simon could not really see much of them from where he sat holding the straining wolf. Only long, thin, white backs and sharp ears. The beasts moved toward the troll at a gallop. Panic was making it hard for him to breathe.
What is Binabik doing? Why doesn't he run? Why doesn't he use his darts? Something!
It was like the recurrence of his worst nightmare, like Morgeni's in flames standing between Simon and the deadly hand of Elias. He couldn't sit and watch Binabik killed before his eyes. As he started to pull himself forward, the dogs leaped toward the troll. Simon had only a moment's impression of long, pale snouts, of empty, pearl-white eyes, and a flare of red, curving tongues and red mouths. Then Binabik jumped backward, down into the canyon.
No!
The 5 or 6 creatures that had been nearest lunged forward, unable to stop, and tumbled over the cliff in a squealing tangle of white legs and tails. Helpless, Simon watched the clot of whinnying dogs bounce against the steep rock face and plummet down into the trees far below with an explosive popping of broken branches. He felt another choking scream rise in his breast.
Now, Simon! Let her go!
Mouth agape, Simon looked down to see Binabik's feet braced against the canyon wall, the troll hanging suspended from the rope about his waist, not 24 feet below the spot where he had jumped.